From 2011 to 2018, for 8 straight years, the Eastern Conference was completely predictable. I mean, all you had to do was look at whichever team LeBron was playing for, and that was it. Every other team was, for all intents and purposes, playing for second place. As of today, however, it's a completely different story. With MVPs and MVP caliber players left, right, and center, the East is now looking like a complete monster. And with that being said, let's get into my 2023 Eastern Conference predictions. First off, I'm going to go over the 4 teams which I think will become the bottom-seeded teams from 12 to 15. Those 4 teams are the Wizards, the Hornets, the Pistons, and the Pacers. The Washington Wizards are led by Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis, and therein lies the problem. As elite as Beal is, I don't believe he's good enough as the #1 option to get a team into a stacked 2023 Eastern Conference playoffs. Kristaps Porzingis, on the other hand, was the second option in Dallas for a number of years, but it seems like he was the one holding them back. I mean, the last game he was in a Mavericks uniform, they were 29-21. But after he was traded away at the trade deadline, the Mavericks went 23-8 to close the season. Porzingis had flashes of greatness, but the problem is that he doesn't consistently play to his strengths, and he gets injured way too often. I have them fighting for a play-in spot, but ultimately, I see them missing it by a few games. Next off, we have the Charlotte Hornets. I love watching LaMelo play. Just like most people, I believe he'll be a big star in the league one day, and perhaps even a superstar. But unfortunately, their second best player in Miles Bridges just got into some serious off-court problems that'll probably keep him off the court for the foreseeable future, and because of that, the Hornets are going to miss their 7th consecutive postseason. The Pistons seem to have almost finished a rebuilding phase, but they're still too young and inexperienced to win a whole lot of games in a stacked conference. And then we have the Indiana Pacers, who are going through a full rebuild phase at the moment, so there we have teams 12 through 15. Next off, for team number 11, I got the Orlando Magic, who I think could be one of the underdogs that makes some noise in the East. I mean, they're all young, talented, and they have every position filled from point guards to centers. I can see them being like Memphis and Minnesota, a young, talented team with a ton of energy, and if they could build something in the first half of the 82-game regular season, then we could have something interesting. For number 10, I got the New York Knicks. Their top paid players are going to be Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. I should bump them to 11 just for that, but either way, it won't matter. They could have climbed up a bit in the rankings if they had acquired Donovan Mitchell, but their front office did it again. I'm sure Stephen A. Smith is already ranting on the fact that they once again failed to acquire a star. The Knicks are going to grab a play-in tournament spot, but that's about it with regards to their ceiling. Anyways, moving on to number 9, I got the Atlanta Hawks. A team stacked with Trae Young, John Collins, and DeJounte Murray sounds pretty good, but the East is just so stacked that it's hard to slot them in any higher. The team will go as far as Ice Trae will take them, and although he's a top 5 point guard in the league, this team just isn't ready yet to be a serious threat. For number 8, I got the Chicago Bulls. I really hope Lonzo Ball can get healthy soon. I mean, last season the Bulls were 23-13 with him in the lineup, and just 24-23 without him. Anyway, the Bulls do have the potential to be a really good regular season team and perhaps climb even higher than 8th in the Eastern Conference seedings. But I believe that's their ceiling, just a pretty good regular season team. At number 7, we have the Toronto Raptors. This squad doesn't have any superstars. I mean, their 2 best players in Van Vliet and Siakam are low-level all-stars at best, but the thing is, the team as a whole plays pretty solid team basketball, and that could make them dangerous. In maybe 2 to 3 years, when Scottie Barnes, the last rookie of the year, develops a bit more, the Raptors could perhaps become one of the top Eastern teams again. At number 6, we have the Cavaliers. They recently acquired Donovan Mitchell, and along with Darius Garland, they got one of the best backcourts in the East. Evan Mobley is looking really good, and they also got Jared Allen, Kevin Love, Karis LeVert, and Ricky Rubio. This team was playoff bound until a string of injuries hobbled them last season, and they got even better in the offseason. I have them at number 6 only because the next 5 teams are stacked, but even in saying that, the Cavaliers, although the odds are against them, have a legit chance of representing the East. Next off, we got the Brooklyn Nets. KD finally decided to stay, Kyrie took his player option, and Ben Simmons seems like he's finally healthy both physically and mentally. Honestly, if this team's chemistry somehow works out, and if they can all stay healthy, they have as good a chance as any team in the East in reaching the finals. Chemistry, not talent, is this team's biggest weakness, but one thing is for sure, if you insult him on Twitter, don't expect Kevin Durant to hold back. After the Nets, I got the Miami Heat. They were the #1 seed last season, and were also one win away from reaching the finals for good reasons. I mean, first off, they have a world-class organization that keeps their players' body fat below 8%. And second off, they have Jimmy Butler. At the same time, however, their main point guard is Kyle Lowry, who's 36, turning 37. Jimmy Butler also isn't getting any younger, and as we saw, there's only so much that one man can do. I got the Heat finishing 4th in the conference. Afterwards, we got the Bucks. Milwaukee has one of the most dominant players we've seen in ages in Giannis Antetokounmpo. This man almost single-handedly took out the Celtics, and with Chris Middleton back in the mix, needless to say, they're going to be one of the top teams in the East. After them, we got the Celtics. If you remember, Boston went on a tear after the All-Star break in 2022, and that rampage they went on almost won them a championship if it wasn't for the greatest shooter in NBA history. In the offseason, they acquired a true point guard that could perhaps take them to that next level, and I look forward to what they'll be able to produce in 2023. Finally, I got the 76ers taking the top spot in the East. Joel Embiid has been an MVP candidate for the last few years, and that's not going to be any different if he remains healthy this season. Then we have James Harden. Although the Beard didn't play great by his standards last season, he'll be healthy and motivated this year. And if I had to bet money, I'd say he'll be back to playing at an all-NBA level. In addition, the 76ers have a rising star in Tyrese Maxey, and during the offseason, they added some great pieces that'll make them not only top-heavy, but deep as well. Next off, let's move into my postseason predictions. For the play-in tournament, I got the Raptors beating the Bulls for the 7th and 8th battle, and the Hawks beating the Knicks for the 9th and 10th battle. Then for the matchup between the Bulls and the Hawks, I actually got the Hawks. The only thing that can stop Trae Young is elite defense, and the Bulls just don't have that. I mean, last season they were ranked 23rd in defensive rating, and I see Ice Trae picking the Bulls apart floater by floater by floater. Anyways, that's about as far as I've got the Hawks going though, as I see them losing in 5 or 6 games to the 76ers. I got the Celtics beating the Raptors in 5 games, the Bucks beating the Cavaliers in 5 games, and the Nets beating Miami in 6. In the second round, I may have a lot of people disagreeing with this take, but I got the 76ers over the Nets in 6. It's going to be a blast to watch Embiid go up against Simmons, but in the end, Embiid is going to be too much for any Nets player to handle in the post. PJ Tucker and Matisse Thybulle are going to take turns on Durant, while Tyrese Maxey will do his best to slow down Uncle Drew. Ultimately, the chemistry of the Nets is what's going to lose them the series, and that's that. The Celtics and the Bucks are going to face off in the other second-round series, and if Giannis almost beat the Celtics single-handedly, then with Middleton back in the mix, I got to roll with the Bucks. I got them winning in 6 games. Finally, we got the Eastern Conference Finals with a showdown between 2 of the baddest dudes in the East, Joel Embiid and Giannis Antetokounmpo. For this series, I got James Harden as the difference maker. I mean, up until about a year and a half ago, the Beard was a perennial MVP candidate, and I really think he's going to have a resurgence year. A lot of people hate on Harden, but just remember, he was one Chris Paul hamstring injury away from perhaps winning the championship in 2018. The Beard is going to make headlines in 2023, and I got them representing the East.